G'day, welcome to another video on Technacy and Innovation. In this video we'll be using the Technacy and Innovation chart as a guide for setting and sequencing design and technology projects to appropriate levels of developmental expectations for the learner. But before we go into the Technacy and Innovation chart, let's just recap what is involved in a Technacy genre. There are 4 elements involved in Technacy theory. All technology types include materials. There are either physical materials or digital materials, and ultimately all the materials we transform, whether physical or digital or other things we transform, have some relationship back to our environment. These materials are transformed by us through the use of tools, whether these tools are physical or digital. Having materials and tools is not enough, however, and we described how Technacy involves this idea of an agency. And since we are concerned with human technology in this video, we're concerned with the human agency, in particular knowledge, skills, values, and so on. And these things are brought together towards a project. And a project is described by its purpose and context parameters. And it's understanding the context that makes Technacy so powerful. When we bring these things together, we form the system which we call the basic Technacy genre, or technology type. So let's move on. Forming these ideas together will be the basis of a project, and we've decided to include a symbol here of a circle as the essential description or icon for a project. In a previous video, we described the theory behind Technacy and Innovation chart. And here we might recall that we set appropriate expectations across the chart. We set them across in terms of complexity of the projects, but also in terms of the demands we place on students in becoming more and more creative and innovative. And so we see the chart progress from early emergent right through to upper sophisticated. And we see people having an opportunity to progress from exploratory play through to consolidation and pioneering work. Now, school systems, those projects which are ranging from kindergarten through to 12 years of schooling, typically happen in a lab environment where there is somebody with capability overseeing the safety and ideas of learning progression. These are environments where we simulate and environments where we model. And so we set school-based project expectations in this area of the chart. Notice how this area of the chart crosses over partly into the competent consolidation phase. This is because many school systems from K to 12, particularly from about year 10 of schooling through to year 12 of schooling, start to engage in on-the-job training in a commercial sense, but not too much. This is the domain of vocational on-the-job codified expectations. Here we typically find that either through cultural validation or through institutional codified knowledge, we provide students with the ability to do projects following standardized methods. And this is codified often in a way through vocational certification. And so here we set design technology projects in the vocational domain of learning. However, many projects are far more sophisticated than this level of learning. And because of their sophistication, we need to go into much more abstract ways of understanding what we're doing. And these abstract forms of knowledge are often expressed in higher education towards professional and very contingent projects. Projects where not all the parameters are known, where the risks are very high, where there's extreme teamwork going on, and where the nature of the project is either very large or very small or of such high demand that it would be very difficult to contain it within normal standardized knowledge or further to normal lab-based school activity. So typically we would set a project initially down at the emergent play level, then we would set projects in the competent play level, and so on. and we would try and progress people through appropriate levels of expectations. You could also progress them through other means, such as through the emergent consolidation phase. Notice there are these walls and roundabouts. Now these are here for a reason. In testing this chart with many teachers, we've found that these walls and roundabouts are very useful to help guide the teacher to not overstep the mark of expectations. You could imagine that the emergent pioneer is someone who, in the description for that level, has developed some fantastic ideas, but not necessarily competent to execute them. So you wouldn't want to set their next project at the very high risk, high competency expectation level of early competent pioneer. But rather, you would like to guide them through some competency before they get there. And at the same, people who are initially engaging in a technology project for the first time would be expected to have a project where they can explore and play with the materials and tools and ideas involved at the emergent play level. So the next project should not be expecting them to engage in codified, competent, on-the-job work. So in this sense, we don't want projects that move across in this way, and we don't want to set projects that move across in this way. Instead, we would like to have projects that guide students through something like this. It's also possible to team up people in the chart. So let's have a look how we use the chart to form teams. Teams are typically made with 3 ingredients involved. You have at least 2 groups of people, and you have an idea that they share. The idea here is represented by the green dot. So here you may have somebody who you would identify as performing in the emergent pioneer domain with their idea. And now this idea seems quite unrealistic, it could be quite fanciful, and therefore you might need them to team up with people who are achieving in the competent consolidation phase. This may be translated in the school environment where you have somebody with a really interesting idea, but who can't actually execute it themselves. So you introduce them to external experts who can provide some assistance. The emergent pioneer could then communicate their idea in a team arrangement and get a project going. The same can happen with the sophisticated play. Now, a sophisticated play person is somebody who actually has a very sound idea on how to get a project going, but they themselves don't necessarily have the means or the skills to deliver it. So they talk to people who have these competency codified skills. They form a team, share the idea, and away they go. So team development is very important, particularly as we progress through to the upper right sophisticated pioneer domain of education. So to sum up, there are these 3 broad areas of the Technacy and Innovation chart, and they broadly describe the level of expectations we can set for our students using the Technacy and Innovation theory. We set projects from K to 12 in the lab, in the school environment. We can then set projects in the upper school environment and into the professional domain, which is on the job, vocational, and being recognised by codified, certified skills. And then we can set projects beyond that to the very complex, extreme scale, high risk projects, typically large scale development, sophisticated programs, aeronautics, space travel, and so on. These occur in the professional, highly contingent domain of project expectations. Thank you very much.